Hey, this is Urban Conservative News with your host, Jermaine Thomas, providing you that hood commentary and analysis of the stories that's dominating our news cycle. And that one in particular is the recent terrorist attack in London, praying for them. And then a week before that in Manchester. So what's the point of these little videos is just to provide some substantive analysis or perspective, my perspective on what's going on, and kind of define, you know, how we should carry that knowledge and what we should do with it. So I just want you to think with me for a minute. The trend has been that these guys or ladies are native born. There have been some instances in these terrorist attacks where the individual or plots that was thwarted were refugees or immigrants. So for Trump to call for those restrictions to vet these people coming to our country is spot on to do that. But the San Bernardino terrorists, the shooter in Florida, the guy who put the bomb in New York in the garbage can, or the plot to try to get the Marines, to try to blow up the Marines in jogging in New Jersey, or the Boston bombers. These guys were mainly native born. You know, they was living the American dream, and they're willing to give all that up to please and honor God. And is honoring and pleasing God such a far-fetched notion? No, it's not. I mean, even in the Christian faith, in me being a Christian, you hear that multiple times across pulpits in America and around the world. Hey, live a life honoring God, live a life to please God. We must please God. You know, so their imams or their teachers, their pastors are teaching them a message of Islam that's not just rooted in the Quran, but it's also rooted in Hadith. You know, so people always say, well, you know, Islam is a peaceful religion, and so they usually just focus on the Quran, but it's not for the more devout followers of Islam. You have to look at the Hadith. You know, these are the actual interpretations of the teachings and writings of Muhammad, and that's where you get some of the extreme views or the things that perpetuate Sharia and being bound by Sharia law that many moderate Muslims, you know, adhere to and acknowledge as the supreme law of the land for them. And so these men and women who have children and willing to give up their everyday life to blow themselves up or to kill people because they feel and believe that this is what's honoring God. How do you defeat or come against a devout passion like that? That's no different than like what Paul or Saul was doing when he was killing Christians in the name of Judaism. You know, he felt what he was doing was right and honoring and pleasing to God. You know, so that's why even in my own personal prayers, I say, God, give them like them Pauline type transformations of salvation in their lives to know you. You know, that's, you know, my prayer as a believer. You know, but man, that's deep. And so how do you counter that type of passion? How do you counter that type of ideology that drives them to give up their good life, you know, in the name of their God, to kill the infidels, the Westerners, or sometimes their own people? And so we have to pray for our government, man, and our government officials here in America and around the world, that they can come up with some profound approaches. But we need, more so than anything, the Muslim community to continue to stand up and continue to call out not just this hate, but this misinterpretation or the redefining of their religion. So I hope this commentary makes some sense and it calls you to think, you know, so when you're hearing the topic,